Okay, we open our public hearing. Z 2020-1697 of East Coast Energy LLC, requesting permission to work in an upland review area and inland wetlands area for review of sediment and wetlands buffer associated with construction of previous approved solar facility and installation of additional erosion control measures on property located at 91 Plainfield Pike Road, Plainfield, map 17, block 36, lots 69 and 37.
Everybody see this okay? Moving around, moving closer. Good? My name is Rodney Galton. I'm a professional civil engineer and I'm a project manager for East Coast Energy. And this plan was submitted at the last meeting, gone over. There was no additional request by the town for additional measures out there. So I will just go over what was submitted last time around. And so Plainfield Pike, coming in to the east, to the west of the drive, we have a small area of upland and a small area of wetland that receives some sediments. We are looking to go in there by hand and remove that material. And we're also proposing a 8-foot wide wood chip berm along the edge of the drive to protect this wetland system going forward. But this really, this wetland disturbance here really needs to be done by hand. This berm will not only protect the existing gravel drive that's here, the site to the east has some issues. So we're actually going to, it's the abutting piece, it should help prevent any of their sediment from washing into that wetland as well. And that's one of the big concerns that we have because there is a large stockpile here and we don't want any of that sediment. We don't want to be associated with any of that sediment as well. So this berm we believe is necessary going forward. And then phase 1 into phase 2, the drive, we have 3,263 square feet of wetland that was beyond the permitted limit of disturbance. We are proposing to go in there as well and remove as much of this fill with a machine on the existing crossing. We will pull everything from the existing crossing towards the road. And then we will go in and we will put some seed down in that wetland soil, trying to get the vegetation to bounce back. We are also proposing a little further to the west, the second crossing, there was another area of 1,005 square feet that was also disturbed beyond the limit of disturbance. And it's the same process. We want to have a machine on the existing crossing, pulling the material back towards the existing road. We'll go in there, add some seed, get the wetland plants to pop back up. We're also proposing wood chip berms in these areas, and also to move the existing wood chip berm that's to the south of this drive back to within the limit of disturbance.
Last time we did discuss the wood chip berm is in the wetlands, and there's disturbance right up to the berm. So there's more disturbance than what was shown on the plan. We were supposed to get that shown on the plan and calculated.
And that was discussed with Bob Russo from CLA Engineers? It was? Okay. That was not conveyed to me.
Yeah, I spoke to, I believe it was Bob.
Okay.
And he said, yeah, there is disturbance right up to the wood chip berm on the southern side. And
Okay.
so that needs to be shown as well.
Okay. But the process would be the same.
Correct.
The machine would be on the existing crossing, we'll pull that material back to within the permitted limit of disturbance on both of these crossings. We can certainly update the plan, we can make that, in order of conditions. But, it is, this time of year, the ground is starting to thaw, so it would be best to get this moving forward, this process moving forward, so we can get some of those wetland plants, those existing wetland plants to pop now, once we get this cleared back. So really, time is of the essence. This is a good time of year to do this. We'll have it done, within a few weeks. By that time, the wetland plant should be looking to start popping. So that's why we want to go in, we want to add some additional seed to this disturbed area, get all those plants moving, germinating, get this restored as quick as possible. And chances are, within a year, you will not notice any difference through here.
Have you had any communication with Army Corps yet?
I was not made aware of any communication with the Army Corps.
That's the one thing I'm concerned with, is that I don't want to approve something that they want changes made to,
Right.
although I think they would simply have the authority to require those.
Requires, right. They would.
So you're gonna put some seed down, what's your timeline?
Like I said, we hope to have all this work done within a few weeks. So we'd be putting the seed right back as soon as the material is cleared out of there. We'd be putting the seed mix down.
March?
It'd be March, yes. Thereabouts, late March.
What was your background again?
I'm a professional civil engineer. I'm also a certified professional in erosion and sedimentation control as well.
Does the board have any other questions?
Do you have a report from a soil scientist concerning the restoration? Do you get one?
Was that addressed towards me? You want a report from a soil scientist?
Do we have one?
Do you have one?
If we have
Well, it was CLA Engineers, their soil scientist is the one that did this preparation work here for restoration. So it was him, he was involved with this restoration plan. And it's Bob Russo, he's a certified soil scientist.
I don't have any issues with what's presented. Given what's out there, it should heal pretty quickly once the material is removed.
And I think that's why it's important, to try to get this moving forward quickly this time of year, because things are starting to thaw now, so we want to try to get that material out of there and let those plants, those native plants, start coming up through. And we will, add that seed mixture to just help things along.
Anybody else have any other discussion on it?
I've never had good luck with the seed down in March.
Yeah.
I know you want to get it done quick, but that might be a little too quick.
Wetland seed is a little different. Wetland plants will typically start coming up first before grass. The plants are different, obviously. They're in the hybrid soil, so they're actually growing when things are the wettest. So that's why we want to try to get the seed down in March, right after thaw. And things are starting to thaw now, obviously, we have 50-degree days, so.
Okay, if nobody has any other questions,
Public comments. Move up public comment.
anybody in the audience want to say anything about this project? Hearing none. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion, we close public hearing.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Public hearing is closed. Our next item, Z2020-1698 of Stephanie Block, requesting permission to work in an upland review in inland wetlands area for wetlands crossing of intermediate stream to driveway located on property Dow Road, Plainfield, map 25, lot 36, and lot 45.
Sorry, I didn't come prepared with anything like this, I did not know if I would need to.
That was Roman gravel.
So I'll explain what's going on here. This is a relatively simple wetlands crossing for a driveway. We have an intermittent stream running alongside the road, which carries a lot of road drainage and also drainage from subdivisions up above. It used to be a agricultural crossing, but over the years it's eroded to the point where you can no longer get a tractor across it. So they have, without permits, because they weren't aware they needed them, installed two twin pipes, RCPs, I believe they're 15-inch. Okay, so 18-inch RCPs, and covered them over with crushed stone. And seems to be pretty stable. I would advise that there is riprap placed both above and below the pipes, just to make sure there's no erosion. So probably 4-inch to 6-inch plus square edge riprap.
A little bigger than it looks up there.
Yeah. And you have round stone out there, riprap is,
It's basically the tail end out there now.
Yeah.
What's that thing, how do you draw it in
the square edge rock, it'll interlock and won't move like the round stone.
Yeah,
You want that right up to the edge?
What's that?
The riprap, you want that to come right to the edges of the culverts?
Just below the pipes, just where the
Oh,
water,
okay.
where the water spills out.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
And also in.
On the inside, maybe
Yeah,
open that up a
just so
little.
there's no erosion.
They're coming straight up in, or actually, it's coming a little closer to the property line.
Yeah. Yep. So we're just concerned about the crossing.
Okay.
Yeah, well, just a little stream, and it was just a little small one before, but now there's a lot of water coming off that hill. It's all been put over on my side of the property, you know, from the hill.
Can I come in tomorrow and grab one of these?
Yes. But as they use crushed stone rather than gravel to go over the culvert, there was no issues with any erosion or sedimentation to the brook.
And nice job you did up there with the field.
Yeah.
It does-
Yeah, thank you, really,
It does,
that actually helped out for
it's out onto my property, you know, that's good.
Who are you using it for?
It's my wood lot, and I have Christmas trees in there. That's my only way I can get into it. On the other side of my house is a brook and stuff, and that's the only flat part up there that I can get into. It's a wood lot and it's a field.
Their house is right here at 200, and this is a separate lot back here. So that would be the only access to the lot.
Lathrop Brook actually runs right through this section of that map.
Okay, any other questions for him? Entertain a motion?
I'll open up one comment first.
Anybody in the audience have any other comment? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to close the public hearing, Z 2020-1698.
Do you have a second?
Seconded.
Motion been made,
Thank you very much.
seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? And opposed.
That's not the approval, it's a close of the hearing.
Okay.
They can't make any decisions until we open up the regular meeting.
Okay.
We open it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're gonna have a roll call. My far left, Ralph Wells, Tom Sinkerman, Joe Campbell, Rhonda Jardins, Randy Stillwater, Ryan Bray, and Tony Minowater, recording secretary. I'll call the meeting to order, and the first item is review and act on the minutes of the meeting dated January 21st, 2020. I got a motion to accept the minutes.
The motion of the meeting is accepted.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed? Motion carried. Unfinished old business. Z 2020-1697 of Ecos Energy LLC, Commissioner working in upland review in the wetlands area for removal of sediment and wetlands buffers associated with construction of previous approved solar facility and installation of additional erosion control measures on property located at 91 Plainfield Pike, Plainfield, map 17, block 36, lots 69 and 37. Is there any other discussion?
I had a couple of points. So I just had a couple of points. I would like the plans to be revised to show the additional disturbance and remediation on the southern side by the ground. And those should be submitted, and also an as-built remediation should be provided after completion. So those are my only two suggestions for approval.
I just have one comment. I think we should get a status report from a certified soil scientist after a year and after 2 years.
That was after 1 year and after 3 years, is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we'll put it in a motion.
Make a motion to approve Z 2020-1697, conditions that we receive a status report from certified soil scientists after 1 and after 3 years. We receive revised plans showing the additional disturbance and that we receive our as-built after
The remediation.
I second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our next item, Z 2020-1698 of Stephanie Gluck, requesting permission to work on upland review and in the wetlands area for wetlands crossings of intimate stream for driveway located on Dow Road, Plainfield, map 25, block 36, lot 45. Is there any other discussion?
I think it's better than them having to drive their tractor through the mud.
Make a motion to 2020-1698 be approved with the addition of the requested riprap at the end of all of the pipes.
Seconded.
Okay, motion's made and seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our next item, 2020-1700 of Sammy P. Incorporated, requesting permission to work in an upland review area for earth products excavation and processing on westerly portion of the parcel property located on Brook Road, Plainfield, map 10, block 17, lot 5.
Good evening. For the record, John Felician, Boundaries LLC, representing Sammy P., the applicant, who is also here this evening, along with Dave McKay, project engineer from our office as well. Thank you for having a special meeting. I know last week you had difficulties. I'm glad to see you here tonight. I have copies of the plan in reduced form. I know Brian has them, but if anybody would like to have these to refer to. These are the same plans that were previously submitted and are on the board in front of us as well. And we are here tonight to conduct the additional review that may be necessary and hopefully receive commission action. The project is proposed, I'm going to flip to sheet 3, which is the overall site plan. The project is proposed in 3 phases. We're looking to extract approximately 165,000 cubic yards of earth product from the site. In doing so, we've maintained the required separating distances from the street and the adjacent northerly property line. There is wetlands that extends from the northerly property southerly into the site, and then a wetland system that separates this portion of the property from the easterly portion that was previously permitted. As we had done in the previous application, we've maintained a minimum 50-foot buffer to all wetland within the project area, with the exception of the small access area to phase 3 of the project, where all road will be constructed between those 2 wetland areas. That falls just inside that 50-foot mark for a short distance. We've maintained a berm around the entire property, portions of the excavation, with the exception of the outlets from the proposed sediment traps that are proposed at the easterly portion of the site adjacent to those wetland areas. Those sediment traps will be converted to permanent drainage basins upon completion of the site. We have conducted groundwater monitoring since November on the site. There's a table found on sheet number 3 which identifies the groundwater elevations, and we are staying well above groundwater on this site, as we did on the westerly portion of the site, rendering the property useful for uses within the I-1 zone once the excavation is permitted or is completed. The application and plans were submitted to your town's consulting engineer, and a review letter was provided to us dated February 4th, 2020. There are a couple of very minor comments from your town's consulting engineer. One referenced the waiver request, that just acknowledgement that it was made. The second was for the installation of a gate at the entrance drive, which was added, and a couple of clarifications to the sizing of the sediment trap number 1 and associated revisions to the drainage calculations as well. I have also to submit for your record a couple copies of an updated letter from CME dated February 18th, 2020. I'll read the summary. CME reviewed the materials and found that each of our February 4th comments has been satisfactorily addressed. The Commission may wish to discuss with the applicant the waiver request of section 12.3.32.4 for groundwater monitoring. That is a waiver in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and it is for the methodology used to monitor groundwater. They also go on to say that it appears that the lowest excavation elevation is well above the estimated high groundwater, and additional groundwater monitoring would not alter the proposed design. If the proposed excavation elevations are modified, the future groundwater monitoring should be revisited. So we have addressed all the comments provided to us by the town consulting engineer, as well as town staff with the plan set that you have in front of you. I know I kind of went through this very quickly. I think most of you were here at the last meeting. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Does anybody have any questions for the the engineer said.
Fueling pad, you don't have a tank on site, so you.
No, that'd be fueling by truck, yes. As with the previous application, part of the process beyond the local regulatory authority is the registration with the DEP for stormwater pollution prevention control plan, which will be supplied to the DEP in accordance with their requirements.
You have to get it nipped,
I'm sorry?
do you have to get it nipped and stone?
I don't believe so, no.
Do you have any other questions, Brian?
No, all my comments have been addressed, as have the comments from the town engineer.
Okay, if we don't have any other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve Z 2020-1700.
Do you have a second? Motion been made and seconded. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Our next item, Z 2020-1704, North End Automotive, requesting permission to work in Uplands, review area, construction of 84 square feet commercial building, oral service and sales on property located on Norwich Road, Central Village, map 15, block 75, lot 8.
Thank you. For the record, my name is Norm Tebow, Finley Engineering Associates. I'm here representing North End Automotive this evening. What we're proposing to do is to construct an 8,400 square foot steel building. This will be used for automotive sales and service. There is some display area up front, paved parking on the southern side of the lot, and the northernmost area is where you see the building. We've got a wetlands that kind of basically gathers at the toe of the slope. This back portion of the lot is very steeply sloped, as are most of the properties in this area going down the road. This property is located right next to the Victorian, and the wetlands were delineated by Joseph Thoreau, and I'd like to read his delineation report into the record. It was provided with the application. It says, per your request, I have delineated the inland wetlands on the above referenced property. These wetlands have been delineated in accordance with the standards of the National Cooperative Soil Survey and the definitions of wetlands as found in the Connecticut Statutes, Chapter 440, Sections 22A through 38. Fluorescent pink flags with a corresponding location number delineate the boundary between the upland soils and the inland wetlands and water course that was found. Flag numbers WF1 through WF2021 delineate the boundary of a pedestrian forested shrub wetland that is located to the west of the existing field area. It should be noted that significant amounts of historic filling and grading was found in and along the wetland boundary adjacent to the field. These delineated wetland soils are characterized by shallow redoxomorphic features and low coma colors within 20 inches of the soil surface. In conclusion, if you have any questions concerning this delineation or its report, please feel free to contact me. Signed by Joseph Thoreau, a certified soil scientist. Now this Oddly enough, the remainder of the soils on this property are all Hinkley sands and gravels. They're deep, very, very well-drained soils. This particular area happens to be, just a depression in the terrain because the site is relatively flat, but it does drain to the west, and everything that comes off of this hillside settles here as well. There is also some drainage that kind of comes from the north and flows to the south, and ultimately everything just sort of settles here and slowly infiltrates back into the ground. So we're proposing to construct this building. Obviously, we're within about 20 feet of the wetlands on the western end of the building. We're showing paved parking, a screened and curbed concrete dumpster pad, and also a covered dumpster. And all drainage we're proposing is going to sheet flow to a stormwater basin that's located in the southwestern portion of the site. Basin was sized assuming that there'd be no infiltration, say in winter conditions and so forth. So the basin is capable of storing a 7-inch rainfall from the paved areas, and also from the areas that aren't going to be developed at this point. The site is served by water and sewer, which are located in the road here. We're actually going to be connecting to water across the road. Sanitary sewer is actually a manhole several hundred feet to the north at this point right here. The interior of the building will have floor drains that will go through an oil water separator, and then ultimately to a second manhole that we're putting in just adjacent to the site, and running it along the edge of the pavement and tying into the existing manhole that exists. That manhole currently does have an 8-inch stump already there in anticipation of any kind of future hookups, which is what we're proposing. The site is relatively flat and well drained, and I think the potential for erosive runoff or erosive flow across this site is extremely limited. We are showing a line of silt fence between the development and the wetland itself, and going forward, after the site is stabilized, there really isn't going to be any activity at this end of the site other than the parking of the cars in the parking lot, but we don't really anticipate any type of activity around the building, between the building and the wetlands, or the dumpster and the wetlands as well. So that's really kind of it in a nutshell. We did receive approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals several weeks ago for the certificate of location. We still have to appear before the Planning and Zoning Commission for site plan review, and ultimately, if all commissions approve this project, then the owner has to get a DMV permit from the Department of Transportation. Be happy to entertain any questions about that at this time.
Blue circles on the plan. 4 of them.
This here?
No, right next to the building.
These here?
Yeah.
Oh, those are trees. Showing a couple of trees. Putting a couple of
Blue spruce.
yeah. Just a couple of little bit of vegetation around the site. There's really nothing there right now, but dress it up a little bit, put a couple of ornamental trees, make it look presentable. You might note too that the oil water separator, once it's installed, it does need to be registered with the Department of Connecticut DEP. There's a general permit for the discharge of vehicle wastewater, they call it. So what happens is, once this is installed, it needs to be inspected and certified that it was installed properly, the right type of tank went in and so forth. And then registration with the Connecticut DEP.
Z 2020-1704 be approved.
Okay, motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded, is there any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Okay, new business, we have none.
Last week's meeting minutes or agenda had a new business item.
It did, but it was withdrawn. It was withdrawn part of the meeting.
Okay. Agent approval,
None.
citizens participation, here's a chance. Complaints,
No complaints.
other? Thank you, make a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned. I'll second that.